Caribou Weather Dude YouTube channel, my friends. I'm back in Wales again after a nice weekend in Penticton, playing gigs at Ignite the Arts Festival down there with my friend Hilding Donaldson. He's still here tonight. Before he heads back to Grassy Plains, thought I would give you a forecast update because I had not really looked at things in a few days and I need to look at it myself. So it turns out this a little bit of low that's going through is going to develop into a major storm system in the United States again. Like we saw a few weeks ago, one of those ones where tornadoes are going to happen and people are probably going to die. So it's a bad thing. But meanwhile, BC is going to see a clearing trend for a little while. And then we got heat coming in. Going to be really great. Really warm in BC, and we got some lows offshore we'll talk about. But that's more or less the story right now. How warm is she going to get, Joey? Okay, let's go. There it is.
This is bad news. My God. Anything can happen.
I'll watch the video later. Okay, try mopping this. And just a reminder, hit like, share, subscribe, tell a friend. I would like that if you came back again. Okay, let's get on with the story tonight. And we'll have a look at the bad news battle board to start off the show. And as you can see, these are some special weather statements already issued for Ontario because of some of that weather that's coming through. Special weather statement, more freezing rain Wednesday morning through Thursday morning. So there's a big freezing rainstorm. I don't know if Mom has power yet or not up north of Highway 7 in Eastern Ontario. So I hope to try to make contact with her. I've only been home about 45 minutes now from my trip. So big time story going on there. Again, another ice storm. You know, hopefully a lot of the trees that are going to fall down will fall down, but that's not usually how it works. Usually things are weakened and another storm will probably be pretty bad. So we got two special weather statements down south, just north of the Toronto area, it looks like. And we're looking at northwesterly gusty northwesterly winds, continuing impacts from ice storm, and looking down in southern Ontario. Total rainfall amounts 30 to 50 millimeters. Big time rainstorm going through there. Could see some thunderstorms, maybe. We're not totally here to talk about this stuff, but that just gives you an idea what's going on. And nothing in BC really right now going on. You know, we've had some weather moving through today and some low pressure moving through, some rain and whatnot. Nothing terribly significant. Ran into some messy weather at times driving on the highway. Rainfall warnings out through Nova Scotia into Tuesday afternoon. And then we got, it's that freezing rain warning still for Newfoundland. What a storm. So I'm going to have to get caught up on that one. I don't have much to say about the freezing rain warnings yet and what's happened this weekend. But maybe here on Weather Summaries, we'll find something a little bit about it here. Ontario, major ice storm brought significant amounts of freezing rain to central and eastern Ontario, portions of the Golden Horseshoe, as well as portions of northeastern Ontario from Friday night through Sunday. Numerous down trees. What do you mean numerous? Hundreds of thousands of down trees. And power lines were observed, and over 400,000 Hydro One customers were left without power. The city of Aurelia, district of Muskoka, community of Oro-Medonte, and city of Peterborough have declared states of emergency. Oh, wow, Peterborough, state of emergency. All my friends in Peterborough back home, hope you're okay. I know you're probably not watching this if you're in a state of emergency right now, but yeah, some of my home stomping grounds there, definitely Peterborough, to the west of where I grew up by about an hour. Southwest. So Lindsay, 25 mils of accretion. That's a lot. Peterborough, 20, and then on down through Scarborough, only getting 2 mils. So closer to the lake on that, and it was a little bit warmer. But Belleville still took 10 mils. Freezing rain reported in Trenton, 35 hours of freezing rain reported in Trenton. That's unbelievable. That's the town of my birth, my friends. And that's what we got until we get to Quebec, where it says freezing precipitation caused over 70,000 power outages, mostly due to broken branches. Okay, and Gatineau Airport. Let's see, summary of the freezing rain, March 30th from 7 a.m. to 1 p.m., but lasted over the evening. Montreal, March 30th. So you get the point. You can go on to Environment Canada's weather.gc.ca and see some of these numbers for yourself. I don't want to sit here and read through all of them, but quite a few places, Quebec City, Bagotville, or CFB Bagotville there, Canadian Forces Base, Air Force Base, Gaspé, Rimouski, whatnot, Matagami, Chibougamau, Roberval, all taking a fair bit of that freezing rain. Disastrous weekend in Ontario. Pretty nice where I was in Penticton, though. Not too much to report in BC for Avalanche Canada right now, and Alberta looks like conditions are improving. Snow is melting, and we're going to see more and more of that. Of course, that doesn't mean the risk of avalanches is zero, but it means conditions are better than they were. So, Joe, where is this going? It was really nice on Saturday in Penticton, a little cooler on Sunday, and of course the low came in today. And we ran through some periods of snow and whatnot today. I had a great weekend, had some good sets, saw a lot of old friends. It was a really liberating weekend for me. I want to play music again, and it's something I used to do and I love to do. But I also love doing this, so I'm here to get back to work tonight and let go of my musician weekend that was full of love and glory and hugs and good to see yous from bands. And, basically, this festival on my hat here, Ignite the Arts, is kind of the new Arts Wells in a way. It's like we had the festival here. It was like a lot of the same bands came. It was like a big reunion in a lot of way that Paul Crawford and Julie put on. I'm very thankful. I needed it so much I didn't even know. Okay, so what are we looking at here, Joe? This is the 500 millibar animation. So this is your jet stream, 15 to 20,000 feet more or less, somewhere in there, depending on conditions where that jet stream is going to be at height-wise. And what are we seeing right now? Okay, as we go through this here, I'll let you watch it one more time, and then we're just going to stop, and then we're going to click slowly and talk about the images here because there's quite a bit to take in, actually. So as you can see, this weak low going through here, it's going to contribute into the continent and form a much larger low. Boom, there's your severe weather outbreak Wednesday into Thursday, right? And we're still a little bit on the cold side, but oof, here it comes on Friday, April 5th, too. This is some warm weather. We got a big low out there that's just feeding us. And meanwhile, we had this ice storm. The repeat of the ice storm has gone through eastern Canada again, so another repeat of last weekend in a way. Got tornadoes through the Mississippi Valley. Going to have ice storms and whatnot in Ontario, and that's going to, of course, move its way through the jet stream into the East Coast, and then we're going to see another round for Atlantic Canada. Of course. And here we are, just enjoying some nice warm weather over the weekend. Hopefully this modeling stays true. And then, of course, storms. There you go. But at least those storms are far enough out that they're not in the 500 millibar animation model that the University of South Carolina puts out. Okay, let's move on to the next topic. So same thing again, weak low here, weak low, and we're just going to watch it go through and then develop into the continent. Boom, dig down, 985. There's your severe weather outbreak starting into Wednesday down the line. There it is. Look at the freezing rain through Ontario. That's not good. Snow in northern Ontario, freezing rain through central Ontario. So I hope you're okay, Mom. Hope you're okay, family. Everybody out there, you Havamans. Hope you're fine. Okay. So that's bad news for you. Maybe see some thunderstorms in southern Ontario. It wouldn't surprise me if that line came a little further north and we got some strong thunderstorms in southern Ontario. But again, you might, if you're in Ontario, I'm probably not the guy you want to be watching. You want to be watching Instant Weather Ontario. That's the guy. He's a friend of ours, and we want to support his projects too. Great projects Adam has. So 989, 990 low. There it goes. Boof. Sending snow finally to Atlantic Canada. Freezing rain through Quebec again. Another whole repeat round. Thunderstorm outbreak through the Mississippi Valley into the Appalachians, things like that. Boom, there's another round of it on Friday. So a couple rounds, but I think the big one's Wednesday. Here's our low out there, 974. She's a beast just off the Aleutian Islands there into the Gulf of Alaska, and it's bringing that heat, just sucking it up in that counterclockwise motion straight into the province. Going to be really nice. In fact, that warm weather may reach the Yukon border. You must start seeing some well above zero weather up there. Look at this. It's just feeding it. Boof, there you go. Nice and warm up to the border. Even, look at that. Maybe it does even as far as Dawson City get it up there in the Yukon. Yeah, look at that. Warm. That's a big old low out there, just feeding the warm. And look at the storm outbreaks just consistently. So we're really into a storm season proper, it looks like, down in the United States, and it's like the new tornado alley seems to be more and more the Mississippi and east seems to be where a lot more of that is. You get that Gulf moisture, but it used to really, for some reason, file itself in. And one of the changes, I think, is that with climate change, we're seeing more strong lows come through, and those strong lows bring cold air further down. And you know what I mean? So we're seeing lows developing further south, I guess, at times, too, that are bringing, like that's freezing weather on Sunday, the 6th of April, still down through the continental parts of the states. Looks like Alberta's in cold, Ontario, northern Ontario. It's like kind of winterish conditions. And, it's like almost down to Texas. Like Oklahoma is seeing temperatures dip to about 0 degrees Celsius, of course, centigrade. Look at that big, man, nasty storms. So I think that's one of the things that we're seeing is, of course, when you have more warmth coming up, you're going to get stronger storms, and that's going to pull more cold down. So you get this more topsy-turvy, up and down aspect of the jet stream rolling up and down. So to me, that's why we're seeing that cold air reach further into these areas and maybe getting, of course, other tornadologists will probably have different opinions on this, but I don't think so. I think a lot of them might agree with what I'm saying. That's bringing stormy weather more and more to the Appalachians, Mississippi Valley, and things like that through Alabama and whatnot. They've been seeing this increase over the last 10, 20 years of storms not being necessarily Kansas, Oklahoma, the traditional, what we thought was tornado alley. Maybe part of that now is there's more monitoring too, and It could be that, it's really easy to see a tornado out in the plains and much harder in the rolly country through there. So it could be some of that, but, it's clear that there seems to be very, very powerful tornadoes at times moving through these areas consistently, over the years. So look at this warm weather all the way up. Real nice now. April 6th we're at. Here we go, the 7th. And, of course, we got some crappy weather kind of coming in at times, and we don't really have a clear picture what that looks like because it's too far out in the modeling. But at some point, this low that's out there spreading is going to have to affect us somehow, going to have to try to come in ashore somehow. Maybe restart the process. It might be one of these ones that just hangs around there, upper level low in the Gulf of Alaska. Just seems to hang around there and just sort of feeding garbage and nonsense there towards the coast. So that really reminds me of 2019 summer. And, 13th of April, modeling is looking at freezing rain in Ontario. That's too far out. We're not going to guess about that, but wow. So here we go. Last round of severe weather is moving out. And we got this new low forming here, kind of coming through. It's just like, flurries and, convective squalls and things like that through much of central BC going on in the high country. And then maybe a little bit more snow further to the north at this time. But you see that big low forming itself out there by Colorado, 992 millibars, sinking a little bit. So we'll see how deep that gets here in the modeling. But that's where we're going to start seeing already, if you look, the kind of weather that's coming up from that Gulf, very warm air feeding in. You can see the cold air in the backside. You can see the setup for what's going to become an intensifying system. So even though we really only had a minor experience of it over today and maybe tomorrow or whatnot, or the next few days here in BC, it's amazing how it went out there and found somewhere to achieve the right conditions. So you're looking at Tuesday, there's flurries. I think Tuesday is kind of more the same as it was today. If you're traveling in the high countries, you might run into a little bit of slush on some of the high passes. You might see a little bit more actual snow through Calgary, it looks like, whereas this is just kind of convective flurries and squalls. I suspect mostly instability kind of lingering in behind. And look at that. Here comes the big storm outbreak right towards Iowa, and that's going to hit Missouri through Arkansas. Already the storm line's well defined. At 6 in the morning into Dallas, okay, this is going to be unbelievable. It's one of these ones where people are probably going to die, and you don't want to hear me say that. It's that's alarmist. He's just trying to get people to watch his show. But no, it's if you have family down there, hopefully by now they realize that they're into a severe storm pattern, that every number of days a new round seems to be firing up, and it seems to be, first it was a week, and now it's getting kind of more and more consistent. So we're starting to see that spring weather really, really reach up, really create larger thunderstorms. Look, Ontario is going to just get friggin' smacked this weekend. Unbelievable. Chilly overnight through BC, still into Thursday morning. Sure, yeah. Some of that cold is out there, but all in all, we'll weather these few cool days here, and compared to what is going to be going on out here with some of these extreme thunderstorms that could be producing some very large tornadoes and hail and damaging winds. And again, I don't have I'm not going to guess at that right now because I have the National Weather Service's own write-up here we can look at next, and we can kind of assess what that means. But here we're seeing high pressure developing into BC still Thursday, and that warm weather is going to start trying to find us. It's going to start warming up here. It's going to go back and forth between the two here and try to do this all quickly now because I don't want to be talking too long. I'm a long weekend. I'm tired, but I want to get something out to you guys because it's been a few days and let you know what's going on out there in the world. That's my job now, right? Texas fire and storms early Friday morning. Look at this. So that's a big severe thunderstorm outbreak going on for a number of days. Maybe as you get a little further into it, the conditions might change a little bit. So far, it sounds like Wednesday's the day they're really banking on. That's what we're going to look at here in a minute. But into the weekend, warm. How warm? Okay, let's start finding out. 10 a.m. on Friday, 7C. We're going to walk away from our severe outbreak now and just kind of get to the weekend and see what we're talking about for temperatures in BC. Because that's really the story here. It's we just got to wait out a couple crappy days, and then we find out how nice it can get. Well, how nice can it get? We'll go to 2 in the afternoon, 10, 12. Okay, that's not bad. 13's down the line. I think we'll see nicer than that, though, right? Saturday, 3 p.m., looking at 15 degrees up through the interior. Kamloops, Kelowna going to be warm in the sun. The Grand Prairie at 17, Fort St. John at 16. You got those downsloping winds warming on their way down, so that's great. Look at that. Southerly flow straight up into the Yukon. Going to see some nice warm days for you up there. Isn't this great news? Isn't this great news for us? Look at these nice temperatures on the coast. 15 in Vancouver, 13 Ucluelet. We'll take a jump over into Sunday afternoon now and see what we're seeing there. 20 degrees, Williams Lake, 20 degrees, Kamloops, 16 in Kelowna, 19 in Quesnel. That looks really swell. 19 Grand Prairie, 24 St. John, Peace River into the 18s. Look at even Alberta starting to warm up there. Now they're getting their Chinook. 15 for Red Deer, 14 Calgary in the middle of the afternoon, 4 p.m. in the Sunday afternoon. Oh, aren't you excited? Aren't you excited to have some actual nice weather? It probably won't be that warm here in Wells. It never is. We're not allowed to enjoy things here, really. But yeah, so, it starts to move off by early next week. And we'll get to what comes next after that, I guess, in the next forecast video. But warm temperatures starting next week through the prairies. Look at that. Even Saskatchewan getting your warm weather there in Regina, Saskatchewan. I like to say it wrong that's you can tell when someone's an AI video because they're like in Regina. And I tried to use the AI thing on my video editing program just to make a video, and it had the word Regina in it. And it said Regina, Saskatchewan. And I was like, that's funny. Okay, I'm not going to use that for anything then. I can't be a Canadian putting out videos where the names of our cities aren't even said right. So anyways, enjoy that. Oh boy, talking so much and I'm making errors here. I've been off duty for a few days. So we got days of severe weather possibly ahead of us, right? If things hold out. So we're just going to have a look at what we're looking at here for Mississippi all the way down, Illinois through Missouri, Arkansas, Louisiana, Texas, right? And we have, you look, moderate in here. That's 4 to 5. I mean, we do have the lesser category of thunderstorm. Does it really count? If it's a 5 scale, 4 moderate. So we're talking like they may up that still into the high. Okay. I'm going to try to take you through this quickly because I read this once and didn't hit record. So severe storm outbreaks possible Wednesday across lower Great Lakes, Mississippi Valley, and Arkansas, Louisiana, Texas with severe wind gusts, very large hail, and significant tornadoes are expected. A strong mid-upper level jet and attendant surface cyclone will move northwestward across the upper Midwest and Great Lakes region on Wednesday with a maximum jet remember we were talking about the jet stream earlier on, it could be up to 120 knots up there, over spreads across parts of the Midwest and upper Mississippi valleys. Cool front attendant to the cyclone will move eastward with widespread strong to severe storms expected, right? So, that is certainly for Iowa and Missouri and Illinois, where you might see some early morning storms and they may cool things off. And that's kind of like the thing at play here. If the surface heating can get good enough and we get supercell maintenance through the afternoon, we could see some really strong tornadoes in that region into the Great Lakes if they can maintain themselves. And that's much the same for mid-Mississippi Valley, except we have a higher chance there, right? And we got a low-level jet there that's persistently strong through the Mississippi and Ohio valleys during the day on Wednesday. The primary surface cyclone will become increasingly removed from this region with time, but favorable low-level moisture transport, which is coming up from the Gulf of Mexico, and upper-level diffluence will support widespread thunderstorms ahead of the front from Illinois, southwestward to Arkansas, Louisiana, Texas. If anybody's down there, anybody, I don't think there's any Canadians left in America, but if there is and you live down there, if you got family down there, friends, whatever, even everyone watching who might be in the United States, we don't want to see tornadoes fuck you up. That's bullshit when that happens. So we're rooting for you here, hoping that the best case scenario, this is a really dire, disturbing, scary forecast, really, if you're me looking at it. And I hope you understand that, and if we're lucky, none of this, the things fall apart and it doesn't happen, So it's not like I'm not cheering for it to happen. However, we do get excited seeing all this kind of stuff as weather people too. So it's, we got to report on it because we love it. So we report on it in a way too, right? So I hope you understand what I'm talking about. The environment will be favorable for tornadic supercells down there, rich low-level moisture, strong low-level, deep layers shear, winds at different directions all the way down, at least moderate instability. Moderate is high in weather language. There will be some potential for storm interactions and upscale growth given the likelihood of persistent deep convection within the prefrontal, that's ahead of the line, corridor, but significant tornadoes will be possible if superstorm is maintained through the afternoon, just like I was saying for the northern parts more, right? So there's lingering uncertainty of the influence of the early day storms, right? It's like if it rains out a lot and things are kind of, we don't get the surface heating in, it stays cloudy for a little too long, or the storms kind of linger for a little too long, it doesn't allow for a line to really fire up strong, or there's some things that could happen there. But if the sun can really cook, that heat can really get cooking ahead of it, well, maybe a little bit of that rain drop will actually increase the humidity and maybe allow for things to be even stronger. And In overnight, this will continue. And we have the risk for a few days after of strong thunderstorms still yet. After that, we'll keep you updated as we go through the week, friends. And I hope my head wasn't too much in the way because I'm not shooting this all again. Okay, my friends, we'll see you next time. Keep your sticks on the ice and make your weekend plans because it's going to be barbecue time, I think, here in the Caribou region. Yes, can't wait. Okay, bye now.